I've been saying it for months now, but Bitcoin has just reached a new all-time high of past 60,000, touching almost $65,000 last night. Now, if you don't have Bitcoin, or if you do have Bitcoin, maybe you just got in recently, you're thinking, what's going to happen next? Is it too late to get into it, or is this maybe sometime near the top? So today I want to talk to you about what I really truly believe is going to happen with Bitcoin in the near term, in the next month or two, but over the long term towards the end of this year, and it's quite juicy. Okay, before we get into what I believe is going to happen with Bitcoin and the price over the next month and over the next 9 months, I really want to just read you a couple of things that have happened in the news in literally the last 10 days. That is it. Check this out. Massive wine shop and auction house Aker starts allowing people to use Bitcoin to purchase their products. Switzerland's largest insurer, AXA, starts accepting Bitcoin as payment and also puts some of its assets into Bitcoin in their treasury reserve. Grayscale tops $50 billion in assets under management, and just this week, in one 24-hour period, they purchased $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Gary Gensler was just voted in and became the head of the SEC today, and Gary Gensler was a professor at MIT for blockchain technology. This is really important for moving forward with having new regulations, new laws, and more clarity when it comes to crypto, and obviously coming from someone who's favorable towards cryptocurrencies. Tesla's original purchase of Bitcoin of over $1 billion a couple of months ago only is now worth around $3 billion. One of the biggest companies that's out there has now just been able to increase their amount of profit in a single year just by holding Bitcoin. This signals massive adoption and probably a lot of FOMO for other companies as well. Cathie Wood's ARK Invest and JP Morgan Chase have both indicated price targets for Bitcoin of between $130,000 and $470,000 in the near term and in the long term, signaling that they think that Bitcoin will be taking over gold's market cap in the next few years of $10 trillion, whereas Bitcoin sits somewhere around a bit under $2 trillion right now. Now, again, that is just a few choice pieces of news that have happened in the last 10 days. This is not to mention the amount of news that has happened in the last couple of months when it comes to multiple different banks, not just JP Morgan, but Wells Fargo. You have banks from other countries like Anchor. You have tons of institutional adoption from Visa, from PayPal, Square. MicroStrategy continues buying. There is so much adoption happening, and also just so much attention and so many eyes on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as a whole. This is a moment where I believe Metcalfe's law really, really matters. And I do think it's important to diversify. I do think it's important to have coins of all different types that you think will succeed. But Metcalfe's law basically states that as a network grows, it exponentially increases in growth as the amount of users on the network gains new, milestones of users. And right now, Bitcoin is at an all-time high of amount of wallets created that hold Bitcoin. Okay, we're about to get into price targets and what I think Bitcoin is going to do over the next couple of months. But the other day I was talking to a friend of mine, and she actually just got into crypto and specifically Bitcoin over the last couple of months. And she said, at this point, Bitcoin is too big to ban even if governments decided to ban it. And, I've been echoing this idea for a really long time. I just thought it was interesting that someone who's brand new even came to the same conclusion just from a couple of months of research. But really, when you think about Bitcoin, the way I think about it is like this. When you talk to older people maybe over 50, over 60, a lot of times they'll say, I just don't understand it. And then they'll say something like, but I can't hold it. It's not the same as gold. I would rather have gold. Sure, maybe Bitcoin has a place. Maybe I could have a little bit of it, but I would never replace gold with it because gold is the gold standard. It's real. It's tangible. It's used in cell phones and transistors and things like that. You've heard this argument a million times, so I won't hash all the way through it. But the thing I told my friend was, when I think about the future, I think about it like this. When the internet came out, when email came out, I bet you the people that were in their 50s and 60s were saying, that's ridiculous. There's no way that email is going to take over snail mail, letters that you send to your friends and family, because it's not trustable, it's not secure, it's not easy, not everybody has email, all that kind of stuff. And how wrong would you have been? But you are old and you had been used to a certain way of living for multiple decades, and things didn't really seem like they were going to change, and this is just a brand new baby technology. That's the same way that people with a lot of money who are in that age bracket now think about Bitcoin. They've been here for a long time. They know how bond yield curves work. They know how stocks work. They know how ETFs and index funds work. They know how retirement 401ks and SEP IRAs work, and that's just the way it's always been. And so in their opinion, this is just another internet craze. To them, this Bitcoin and cryptocurrency sounds like Pokemon in video games. It just sounds like, it'll go away soon. It's not a big deal. But really, when you think about it, and this is what I told my friend, is all those people who thought email was not going to work and they used snail mail until the day they died, they're dead now, right? And I'm sure if you look up the numbers of people that use snail mail, it has dropped significantly since the 80s, 90s, right? And it's the same idea with Bitcoin. All the people who are in that age bracket, who have a lot of money, and that's why their opinion still matters, right? Because the people with the most amount of money clearly are not the millennials and Gen Zers. It is the people who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, right? But those people will die, and so will their ideas of any sort of, resistance against Bitcoin. But also listen to this. As those people die, their wealth doesn't just burn, it goes to their kids and their kids' kids. And so those inheritances are inherited by people who have fresher, newer, more open mindsets to cryptocurrencies and just new technology in general. And then as those people die, then the inheritance will go to millennials and Gen Zers, very young people who at that point will be maybe 30 or 40. All of this to me just says that there's a huge amount of money that will be coming into cryptocurrencies as you and me age. In a decade from now, I've been in Bitcoin for 4 years now, and clearly my money is where my mouth is. It's over 85% of my entire net worth is in Bitcoin. But as I've been in this for another decade, for 14, 15 years, my conviction will only be stronger, especially as we see Bitcoin not fail and continue to be so robust. At that point, Bitcoin will no longer be something you need to convince people of. They'll have heard of it for a really long time, and the amount of institutional adoption, it'll just be something that people are used to. Oh, Visa, Chase, everybody uses it, everybody offers it. I can get some just by clicking a couple buttons. It will become more and more cemented into society, and more money will go into it because it'll just be part of the average investor mindset. You should own some stocks. You should own some Bitcoin. You should... Exactly, right? Okay, so there's just my my little daily rant of hopium, just because I do really appreciate being able to talk to you guys about these kind of ideas, and it's good to have a niche amount of people who share the same mindset. Now let's talk about what's happening right now. Bitcoin sits at $63,000 as of time of filming this video. Where is it going to go? Now, in my opinion, over the course of this next month, I do think that we are going to see Bitcoin go up quite a bit. I think we will probably range into maybe the 69,000, maybe 70,000 by the end of April. But I do think that next month we are going to see some pretty astronomical moves. I do believe that next month will be well over 70. It's hard to really say whether or not we'll be into the 80s, but in my opinion, by the end of May, I do think that we will be in the 80s, probably in the 80 to 85, but we could be even higher. That's just my personal opinion. If I was to buy an options contract right now, I would be betting on Bitcoin going up. I would be longing Bitcoin. I wouldn't be shorting Bitcoin right now. Now, more importantly than what's going to happen this month or next month, because I'm not a short-term trader, I have a lot of conviction with this. What's Bitcoin going to be doing over the rest of this year? I do think that Bitcoin will be going up quite a bit towards June, July, and then especially August, September. And the top, I think, will be sometime around September, October, maybe November. I think that's stretching it, though. I think we're probably going to see it sometime in August or September. Now, when this top comes, the moves that we've been seeing where we move up a couple $1,000s, a 5% or 10% jump, and then we kind of consolidate and go sideways and build support, that is not going to be happening anymore. We will be seeing these massive increases in price over the course of a week, and then the next week again and again. It's not going to be these large periods of consolidation. Instead, as the FOMO intensifies, as people get excited and as people feel like they're missing out, so you just can't lose, and I should have got in at 40, should have got in at 50. I thought it was expensive at 60, but now we're at 75. I should put some money in right now. That will intensify, and more people would just be throwing money at it. In 2017, we had people taking out house loans, student loans, mortgage, everything, so that they could buy Bitcoin. Unfortunately, for a lot of them, they got super wrecked. But human psychology repeats, especially in these 4-year cycles. It gives a lot of people enough time to rebuild more fiat, more money to put in, and they repeat the same process. Now, it's not like this is a terrible thing, but I do think that when we are reaching that top period, it's going to be a lot more obvious. You aren't going to have 40 days of going sideways in the $55,000 to $60,000 range, before moving up and finally breaking that. You're just going to be breaking new all-time highs constantly. It's going to be intense. People are going to have a lot of excitement, and it's going to be very euphoric for a lot of people, but it's important to keep your mindset correct and have your emotions in check. That same friend I was talking to said that she doesn't believe that there can ever be another 80% drop in Bitcoin like we've seen in previous ends of bull markets, where in 2017 it dropped from about $20,000 all-time high to around $3,500 at its lowest. And I was saying I honestly think that it's very possible still, because when you think about Bitcoin going 80% down from where it's at right now at around $60,000, that does sound pretty crazy because the amount of time we've consolidated these new support levels. She was saying there's so much institutional adoption, and I totally agree with that. It's a wholly different game. It's not retail only. But the thing I was saying is, as we get closer to that top, as you see that month or 2 months of just straight up parabola, where we just go straight up in price, and especially in that last 1 or 2 weeks before the end of the bull market, you are going to be seeing the price go up 5-10% every day or two. It's going to be absolutely insane. And so you could go from being at maybe $100,000 one month, to then at the end of the next month you're at $150,000 or $200,000. See what I'm saying? It can go quickly, where right now it is still pretty quick, but we're kind of going up, finding this price, building support, going up, finding support, building this price, going up. Whereas when that parabola happens, we could go from 100 to 200K in a month and a half. We could go 100 to 300K in 2 months, whatever it is. And when that blow off top happens, going from 300,000 to an 80% drop would actually not be that terrifying compared to the levels that we're at right now. So an 80% drop from $300,000 would be $90,000. So from where we're at right now, that actually sounds pretty good as the next bottom. I think it's just important to be ready for that kind of a thing. And if you are planning on selling Bitcoin, then have a plan in place for how much Bitcoin you're planning on selling as we reach those new price targets, so that you aren't ending up holding the bag. If you guys have been watching for a while, my strategy is to only sell about 20 to 40% of my entire stack, trying to basically ladder out as we go up to what I think may be the top. That way, as it comes down over the next couple of years, I can buy more Bitcoin. Really, the only goal is just so that I can have more Bitcoin. It's never actually to fully sell out of Bitcoin and just have US dollars. But really, I only see 2 things happening, and this is what I think is really important. I want to drive home in this video. Bitcoin is going to reach an astronomical number, period. It's just whether or not it's going to do it now or in the future. For example, say that you have a price target of, you want Bitcoin to get to $250,000, and that's going to be early retirement for you, maybe, whatever, right? That's where you are just so excited, the dream came true. Now, Bitcoin is either going to do it this cycle at this blow off top towards the end of this year, and you are going to be so stoked, you're going to sell your Bitcoin, you're going to realize that price. Or you're going to have to wait as Bitcoin comes down into the next bear market. Maybe that bear market's 2 or 3 years. And then if it repeats the 4-year cycle, that 4th and 5th year, you're going to see price appreciation as we are right now. And then because the bottom was higher than the last time, the top will also be higher than the last time. And then you will see that price target happen in 4 or 5 years. So really, it comes down to, you're either going to have to wait about 9 months or you're going to have to wait about 4 or 5 years. Either one for me is completely fine. Again, because my conviction with Bitcoin is high. I love Bitcoin. I do believe that this is the future of the entire world's currencies, and really just like store of value. And so in my opinion, it would be great to see it happen now. But even if it happens now, again, I'm only going to sell a small portion of my stack. I'm planning on holding this for 5 years. not only 5 years, I plan on holding it for 10 and 15 and 20, and I plan on holding it until the day I die. So if you have that kind of a mindset, it really shouldn't bother you too much if it does drop, because even if you feel like, you know what, I didn't sell enough, I missed out. There was the top and I thought it might recover after dropping a little bit and go even higher, and I missed my chance to sell the amount of Bitcoin I was planning on selling. For me, yeah, sure, it'd be kind of painful, but I would just watch it come down and I'd say, hey, looks like we're holding for longer. Time to stack even more Bitcoin. For me, I couldn't be more of a Bitcoin bull. In my next video, I'll break down my exact crypto holdings because it's not entirely Bitcoin, but I'll leave that for the very next video. I hope you guys feel the same way about Bitcoin. If you don't, or if you do, let me know what you think in the comments below. I appreciate all the support on this new channel. It's been really, really exciting to be able to talk about this stuff with you guys. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor, so this is all just stuff that kind of rings some new ideas for you. Do your own research. If you're interested in buying Bitcoin, you can use my Coinbase link. That's where I purchase my Bitcoin. You'll get a small reward for using that link. And then you can also store some of your Bitcoin on BlockFi to earn interest every single year. That's what I do. I earn about 6% on my Bitcoin paid in Bitcoin yearly. The link for that is in the description below as well. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a big ol' thumbs up. Subscribe for more of these Bitcoin and cryptocurrency videos, as well as investment videos in general. And I'll see you beautiful people in the very next video.